It's a paranoid day in the neighborhood. So, a beautiful day for distressing. Could you be mine? Could you be mine? No masters, no gods in the neighborhood. A wonderful day for vibing. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. I have always wanted a neighbor just like you to do all the things revolutionaries do. So, revealing the truth on this wonderful day. And since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My comrade. Hey, how's it going, folks? Welcome to Mr. Williams' Neighborhood, the Delinquent podcast episode. Excuse me. Why am I doing this, folks? Because we had a special holiday this occurred for a lot of people. For the mainstreams out there, folks, it occurred I was on like a spot, dude. At any rate, but a special holiday occurred recently, of course. I'm talking about Independence Day, the 4th of July. So, and normally people in my circles, in our neighborhood, we really don't celebrate the 4th of July. We really know what a lot of this stuff means and a lot of things that were lingering and left undone with Independence Day. Independence was more about certain people's independence and not of all people's independence. But so how did I celebrate? Now, did I do some cooking out? I did a little bit of cooking out. Gotta admit that. I mean, they can appropriate a lot of things, but they're not going to take away my ability to cook out. And plus, the family likes it, so I cooked out. But one special thing that I did to celebrate in my own way the anti-4th was binging on the premiere of Stranger Things season 3, and I was left. Although I binged I'm talking about the entire day, folks. From the moment that I realized that Stranger Things was now able to be viewed on Netflix, I began watching and did not stop till about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. So, did what I had to. I enjoyed, and I'm most happy about what I found was revealed at the end of the last episode. And we'll get into all of that. That's one of the main things that we're going to get into. That's why, as in the description, I'm doing what I like to consider my version of the upside down. Normally, I would do Mr. Williams' Neighborhood separate from the Delinquent podcast. On the Delinquent podcast, we do some media buffet and go around, but now we're doing Mr. Williams' Neighborhood in connection. This whole different world that's being built here, just for a little bit of a special. Stranger Things was fun. We want to talk about Stranger Things. It's a vibe out situation. There was some vibe out situations on Stranger Things. There were some episodes that were definitely that. And so we're going to get into all of that. And though I know I'm not, I don't know why I'm acting like this, but because it's not like Mr. Williams' Neighborhood is really like a kid's show, but you don't always want to do the same thing on every single show that you do. Most of the time, I'm on some music stuff, or I'm hanging out at the lounge or anything like that. A couple of different situations, I could see myself doing that. But doing the Cooper Matrix and we're reading all this stuff out. We're doing Mr. Williams' Neighborhood, and we're just trying to give you different different viewpoints here, different personality. But I want to do this special because I am considering doing the next episode. I think it's about due. It's about due for me to do the next episode of the Cooper Matrix pretty soon. So I'm thinking about doing that. And then every day was so special. I didn't do anything on the 4th. And I wanted to do something on the 4th as an anti, but I got into Stranger Things and I just got caught in that. And we're going to do some discussion. So people, if you haven't got all the way through Stranger Things yet, I don't know how. I don't know how you could see the first 2 episodes and be like, and then realize there's another episode coming, and you're not there for that. I'm sorry. Once I realized after episode 1 that episode 2 was coming, I was just like, come on, man. I can't do it. I'm just going. Other than cooking out and making sure that stuff is done, I got to be chilling. I got to chill right here and watch Stranger Things. It's so weird how TV is right now, though, isn't it? I guess it's kind of perfect to be here. It's kind of weird how TV is, and you can have this place like you can have a show, you have something like Netflix out, and where you had to rush week after week after week, and you keep up. And what if I'm doing this? What if I'm working here? But it's like I was able to sit here in one entire day. Now I'm back. To empty. But see, that's why I think, for me, I think that keeping up with something although a challenge, I think it's more fun for me. I think it leaves me a little bit more fulfilled because they have the opportunity to binge out on this like this. I think the opportunity to binge out on this, it leaves you empty now. So now you're just like, what do I do now for the next I don't know how long until another season of oops, did I say that? Okay, look, folks, I just want to say, for those people who have not gotten through, I know you've had to. If you have Netflix and you know there's that the whole entire season is available for you to watch, you've had to have seen like 2 or 3 already. So maybe I won't go so far. Maybe not. But anyway, let's get some vibe music going on here. So let's do this. Let's get some vibe music happening. Let's see. Leaders, the miscalculations, leaders of tomorrow. Let's check that out. Or not. The hell happened? Okay. Well, let's try it again, folks. Well, otherwise, let's get into the upside down. Okay, let's try it again. Okay.
Jackson fans are taking their fight to the courtroom as they continue to contest allegations of sexual misconduct against the lead singer. fan organizations are suing to accuse Wade Robson and James Tate who were profiled in the documentary Leaving Neverland for defamation on behalf of Michael.
Now, so this is going down in a court today in the northern French city of Orleans, where fan groups the Michael Jackson community, MJ Street, and online groups are having a court hearing against the two men saying they sullied the image of Michael in the documentary.
So this kind of legal action can't be done in the States because libel protection doesn't mean once you're dead, but in France, sullying the image of a dead person is a criminal offense. And get this, the Michael Jackson estate is supporting the lawsuit.
Yeah, so the
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Mr. Legault's efforts on behalf of Michael, as beloved fans in France and across the globe, but the truth shall ultimately prevail. We remain hopeful that a victory in France will soon fuel a movement in the United States to finally explore changes in the law to afford defamation protection for the deceased.
And the fan groups are only suing for €1 each, so it's more of a symbolic gesture, but do you think they have a case?
This is odd. It's interesting. Like, I mean, one thing, yeah, if they're going after money, if these fan groups are going to benefit from it, no. So they're only suing for $1. So, I'm not sure what they're going to get out of it necessarily.
It's the same. I look at it as the same.
Well, let me answer that question, folks. Maybe or maybe you didn't hear that, possibly. But let me kind of answer that question on what exactly the symbolic gesture is. That basically, folks, I believe that if it can be proven that if they bring it to a court and the court or a jury or a judge or whomever decides that, yeah, absolutely, this, what they had was unsubstantiated. The activity that's going on beyond that, that's going on in the midst of these accusations that have resurfaced, have, excuse me, these, how can I put this? How can I put this the best way? That they go into court and prove that these allegations that have resurfaced have no merit, still have no merit, had no merit before, and everything else that he's done in the midst of all of this has no credibility. Then it just proves to people that this documentary and the people, and as you can see, it's a comparison thing, folks. It's a comparison thing. There's no fans. Now, you have to understand the fan base of Michael Jackson and what Michael Jackson's legacy is about. I don't know. Some people have their opinions and they play it out in different ways. Some people have, I don't know if King Jellybean on Rick and Morty was sort of, I don't know. But all I can say is, I still say that the two people that you can make a documentary, and that two people that would be as powerful, those two guys, especially Wade Robson, no credibility in my mind. Wade Robson, the guy who would eventually grow up to be a background, a background dancer and choreographer and self-proclaimed, co-writer with another pop artist who basically says he looked up to and was greatly influenced by Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake. You somehow connect with this guy, and in the midst of time of being with him, of course, you have sex with his girlfriend, famously Britney Spears. He's the guy, Wade Robson. So if you want to know about Cry Me a River and who he found it out from, he found it out from Wade Robson. That's the him. Wade Robson is the him that Justin Timberlake found it out from. And that's why I fucked him up, because it was a guy that was in his circle, very close. And, you have this going on. So you just have a guy who's embroiled in a lot of controversy. And then right on the heels of that, on the heels of this whole thing that swirled around with Britney and Justin, MTV decides to partner with Wade Robson and give him a show on MTV, the Wade Robson Experience, on top of other things and a couple other things that he was trying to use, based on this notoriety. All this history on top of everything else that's unfolded through this documentary and these accusations resurfacing with these charities and things like that. It's just, Again, the two people that I would that would be powerful enough for me, that there's only two people accusing Michael Jackson, and even really for me, only one had to say something. This is Macaulay Culkin once again, and Emmanuel Lewis, who played Webster, way back. These two guys, if both those two guys came out and said, yes, Michael Jackson molested me, wow, I would just, wow. One would give me, I would be very close. I'd be right on the edge. I probably still be like, wow. I am so disappointed, because those are the guys that Michael Jackson spent the most time with. I just happened to see it while I was up here, and let's keep it going, folks. Real quick, one moment.
Ways like a group of people coming to defend whoever they love on Twitter, except actually taking action in the real world for it. Right? They're not. What they're getting is trying to defend the honor of someone who is no longer around to defend themselves. That in itself has been a part of this conversation for ever since Michael Jackson passed away.
Paula says it's just their story. It's not a purposeful, hateful takedown of Michael. Valeska says, is it not enough that the two guys have to go through all this abuse? A bunch of idiots have to make it worse. Joyce says these fan groups are just protecting their childhood. Mikey says, I feel like this Michael Jackson controversy will live on longer than the music. I don't think that's possible.
I mean, that's an interesting take on it, though. It's going to be always entangled with the music. Yeah. You can't get away from them. You can't separate them at this point.
And yeah, when it comes to the legal thing, I mean, as far as I know with defamation, it has to be that something is untrue. I mean, like, you're allowed to tell your story. Like, I don't know what the laws are in France, but in terms of freedom of speech,
there's
you're
no
allowed
way
to...
for these groups to prove.
I know, that's the thing. Like, they can't prove that
it didn't happen.
Right.
That what these two guys are saying wasn't true.
Like, it goes both ways. That the guys can't necessarily prove it absolutely happened, and you can't prove that it didn't happen. So I'm pretty sure when it comes to defamation, they have to be able to prove that. Yeah, it was the hateful intent to really take him down when they're just telling their story. And the other thing too is that those two guys, as far as we know, they didn't benefit from the documentary. There was no financial gain for them. Yeah, so they didn't really get anything out of. Even I would understand that argument if they got something out of telling their story, something financial benefit, but they didn't. Yeah. So really, they just told the story. So I don't really think you could sue over defamation.
That sort of thing, if it is in fact the truth, is a really hard thing for a lot of people to be able to accept. Right. But for these guys, and we've talked about it 100 times too, but like for these guys to come out and say it, I feel like that's something they needed to say.
Right. So yeah, I don't think they're going to win.
Well, folks, what do you think? I honestly feel like that the comparisons are, you can't, I like D.L. Hughley. Overall, I think that D.L. Hughley as a comedian was definitely influential. What he had to say, how he tried to, what he tried to do with his television show. He tried in his own way. That's why I think, in a way, that I think the ultimate test of it. I think the ultimate challenge of that whole Norman Lear, Jeffersons and All in the Family Live. I think the real challenge would be, what if the bunkers, like what In Living Color did? What if the bunkers were black? What if the bunkers were black and we had to, and someone were writing based on the fears and prejudices that we, that we in our communities are affected by. Homosexuality, for one. Homosexuality, basically, crab in a barrel mentality within the black community of our neighborhood. We never like to see someone else do better than what we're doing. Things like that. Let's see. There's a lot of different. I mean, I can go back as a kid. A lot of different. There's a lot of different things. If I really sat back and I really touted the list of what I felt like, were issues that would come into play. Some of those things do come up. There's a lot of things that interracial dating. That's another one. Interracial dating is another one. And Living Color did get on that for us. Interracial it's not even so much having an issue with other races, but it's interracial dating. And more so, honestly, in the female section of the situation. So it would be kind of funny to see like the Gloria character and All in the Family have an issue with a black man dating a white woman. And I think it would be funny that if Michael, it would be kind of funny that if Michael were a white guy, was still a white guy, and things like that. And she was dating him, but then somehow still had an issue with dating, with black men dating outside their race, especially white women. It just, those are the realities that we in our own community have to face. So I think that it would have been an interesting challenge to see that. It'd have been an interesting challenge to see the Jeffersons as a younger white couple. Just thinking, they're just playing around with some stuff here while we have the thing in our face here. Not much. I mean, look, folks, Fox News. This is what Fox News is doing. You want to act like Fox. People want to act like about Fox and certain other news channels are more, sort of more serious and things like that. But Teen Star, Teen Mom Star, okay? This reality show bullshit, but teen star mom Amber Portwood arrested for domestic violence. Allegedly, she assaulted her boyfriend while he was holding their daughter. Folks, when you see, this is the whole thing. When you're not helping, like, let me give you an example. I'm gonna give you, as a person who, I'm a big critic of reality shows because I at one point was a fan of reality shows. I felt like back in the day, I felt like back when the Real World first came out, that was part of the revolution of reality shows, because it was people who, they weren't known. And it's kind of funny, right? This is kind of weird that I'm talking about this right now, because one of the people who was a pioneer of that, she's actually on Ridiculousness, on an episode of Ridiculousness that I've seen before. This is Tammy Roman. Tammy was part of the Real World, and she was more a part of an episode where things got really, really real, and I think this is a part where Tammy's fierce reputation started to really take shape. If you don't know, real quick, there was an episode on the season that she was on where they were playing around, pranking each other. And I believe a couple of the roommates, one being David, a comedian, an aspiring comedian that had actually did some things. You will see him most notably, if nothing else, in the House Party 3. And House Party 3, excuse me, installment of that whole series and franchise. He was in part 3. He played Stinky, in that particular movie. But there was a whole thing about, they were playing. I believe Tammy may have been in her underwear. They were just playing around. They were pulling the covers. They were pulling the blanket off of her and things like that. And then she had just got insanely enraged. She then went around and poured different liquids and things like that onto people's clothes. It was just a number of violent outbursts that were committed in the situation. And then it started to be, sort of implications of like sort of sexual assault, or things like that. And that's what was really starting to get way off base. And it became a situation where it was sort of like, and then it was sort of pressed into a situation of the female's not feeling safe, so he had to leave. And so it was a leverage situation where he had to move out, because they were made, because it was a leveraging point at that point. And it was just, it's on camera. I just don't think I just think that it's really, really just wild for someone to really think that someone would be bold enough to sort of sexually assault someone in any kind of way, shape, or fashion while there's a camera rolling right there in your face. You know the camera crews are there. I just don't think that's why I don't think it was quite that way. But I'm not saying that because I'm a man. I'm trying to defend any points. I just really felt even back then that that was just, you know. But anyway, I brought that up because she was on. But I'm just saying that the real world, along with the surreal life, were, I think, the truest forms of reality shows. What you had in the real world initially was people who weren't notable. You didn't know them from anywhere, but they were somebody who were aspiring to things. They wanted to do things. Tammy, people were being real and they were admitting what they wanted to do. Tammy wanted to be an actress. Mike Mizanin wanted to be a pro wrestler. I believe he may even specifically stated that he was going to be in the WWE or the WWF at that time, depending on what transition they were in. But you had people who wanted to be, comedians like David, country singers, and things like that. They were professing their dreams, and being part of the real world was sort of, their being willing to show their journey, their everyday life, and their journey toward their goals and their aspirations. That's what made the real world good back in the day. You had these people, these very unique people from different walks of life that are coming along to either be noted in different ways or to at least just have their real life seen, or to help or use it as a vehicle to help them towards their goals. The surreal life was about famous, was about superstars, some who have lost their glimmer over the years, some reality show people who may have caught a spark a little bit and then things may have waned over time, or people who were trying their best but never could quite get off the ground the way they wanted to. They gathered to the surreal life hosted by Robin Leach that would help them basically get over the obstacles and help them gain the fame that they lost, to help them get to where, they may have fell short, or to really help them get that really good start that, that they felt like they didn't get. And it was basically dealing with the truth and the, and the mistakes and the fuck ups of their lives, and, how they need to avoid that moving forward. Awesome. So, and these things are good things. They make people deal with what is and not what they're trying to make you perceive. Basically what I'm saying is reality shows have evolved from that to where now it's people use reality shows and sort of act like they don't need reality shows. Like, I'm on a reality show to tell you that I don't need to be on a reality show. I got so much going on. I got all this stuff popping that I don't need to be on a reality show. I'm just doing this. Why exactly? Why exactly are you doing a reality show? If you got your album coming out, your music, your this, your that, you got all this going on, then please tell me, why are we doing a reality show? I would just like, it's interesting to me. Sherman Helmsley, you understand? Sherman Helmsley, George Jefferson from the Jeffersons, started out in All in the Family, had a spinoff show because he was so interesting. Him and his wife and his family were so interesting as characters. They had a spinoff show, The Jeffersons. He then went on to another show that he had that was centered around him and another character that he would help bring to life as Deacon Fry on Amen. This is a guy who's had a long run of being a pioneer of different types of shows. I don't think there was a show that I can remember before Amen that focused on the black, that focused on the black church, that focused on black church life and how they deal with certain things and the humor and the hilarity that ensues when people are trying to live normal lives, but also have, a special, this special thing that's introduced that's a constant in their lives. religion. So, here's a guy who had to admit that his spark wasn't there, and he's trying to gain that back. Vern Troyer, Mini Me, been in different other movies, outside of the Austin Powers, since series, but that was where he's most notable. You got this guy who's realizing, hey, yeah, you know, things aren't quite sparking up. People who are on Baywatch, people who are on Baywatch, people who are on on other sitcoms and TV shows and things like that. There were people who were pro wrestlers, people who were rappers and things like that. The surreal life basically it was like that show that forced people to deal with the fact that, hey, you know, I have to be real. It's not that, I'm not coming up here, but now reality shows are exactly that. Excuse me. Reality shows are becoming exactly that. People come onto reality shows now and they say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm great, I'm blah, 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 blah. But but let's see. So basically, in this space now, everybody who thinks they have an interesting story, it's like reality shows, it's like ratings and stars, but we don't know what the ratings are. We don't know what the success of this whole situation is, but it's just something that they're going to keep on going with no matter what. I think the proof just lets you know they don't tell you anything. You have to research it these days. But these reality show situations are sort of like a shell game. Like, even if you watch MTV, you watch these reality shows, you'll probably notice there was a show that they were going to be coming out with, Pretty Little Mamas, that chronicled these girls who grew up together in the same rich, affluent area. But see, here's the thing that they don't do, because it's like it bruises their ego. But the thing that would have been a more powerful message is that even with girls who are born into money and have privilege and things like that, even when you have that type of stuff going on, even when you have that type of stuff going on, you still have these girls who will get pregnant young, or who will, or these guys who will, get these girls pregnant young when they're going to these neighborhoods and they're not being responsible. It happens in any sense. They always act like it's the poor sections and things like that would get this into happening, and that's why. Oh crap. Okay, I'm watching this ridiculousness and that's just crazy right now. But anyway, basically, Pretty Little Mamas were sitting around these girls who grew up together in the same, saying around the same neighborhood, probably more affluent area. Parents were, privileged, and they're privileged and everything like that. And so, they all got pregnant young and things like that. And they're sort of sticking together, being friends, being supportive of each other, so on and so forth. And they thought it was going to be this more sort of like, rich baby mama shit, where it's like, yeah, we got kids, but now we're going to also live that. We're going to show that we as single mothers, we can be fabulous too, or some dumb shit like that. I don't know. But it didn't work. People weren't feeling it. And now they're trying to, now they're trying to do baby mom, teen mom, OG, young moms club or something like that. It's just because they're trying to now trying to soften the situation and now make you feel more heartfelt for them now, instead of this whole thing of, look at these fabulous rich girls that go around, we're hanging out, we're doing this, we're doing that, and blah blah blah, and we're mothers too, blah, 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 blah. Say how much you love me, really. I mean, it's, folks, I'm just saying, bottom line is that you got these reality shows that they used to, more like Bad Girls Club, used to try to help these women who were just notoriously getting in trouble, fighting, assaulting people, things like that, making just ill-advised decisions and trying to help them become better people. But then after a while, they quickly abandoned that. And it was more about, bringing It's more about letting them cut loose and be who they are. But then as soon as you fight someone, you're kicked off the show. So it's like, I don't understand how you can try to keep up these rules and say, you can be this person. You can be this, this over the top, angry, just insulting, ridiculous, petty, spiteful person. But as soon as you, get physical with someone, you know, it's over. You're kicked out. You're done. It doesn't make any sense. But moving on from that, it's going to basically, you have this whole, you're a star. You're a star. That's what they say. You're a star. You're this, you're that. I just, I'm starting to get to a point, folks, where I'm just like, I'm really, I just don't know. I'm just starting to get off of what a star is supposed to be these days, because it just seems like anybody who has any sort of fleeting notoriety gets seen as a star somewhat, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I just don't quite know what to say about some of these things. I try. You try to ignore it, but it's part of what's going on. Even with the family, they watch reality shows. It's not like you can insulate your world to it. It's a part of what other people talk about, what you hear, even in your damn timelines and things like that. It's just, so sometimes you want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it in a way that really gets to the real point of the situation. No one's being helped. There's nothing that's being done to at least highlight that. I just don't see it. I don't see where it's working. If they are being given some therapy, some help or whatever, I don't see where it's helping. I don't see where, things are becoming better in the situation. I just don't see it. But maybe I'm just way off base here, you know? But let's see. A special little treat here for the Mr. Williams podcast. The upside down here. Let's see. Let's see what we can do in honor of the media buffet. Why don't I do this?
I'm ready for love and I'm ready for war, but I'm ready for more. I know that nobody's ever been this fucking ready before.
Be right back.
Figure it out, I'll figure it out. I figured it out. The bigger the river, the bigger the drought. Get over your knees for it. They're big.
here again, folks, because we had to have another game of truth, didn't we? We had to get back to purpose. Oh, 1 second. Excuse me, folks. Gotta check something. So let's just get into it, folks. Folks, I'm feeling so like Rick Sanchez since last night. I really locked into what he's all about and everything like that. And Rick Sanchez, Rick and Morty. For those who may know. Oh, hold on, folks. We want to get rid of the Jew just yet. But look, let me explain what I'm doing right now, folks. We're gonna take a little commercial break, but not really a commercial break. I just thought I'd do a little something because I just, I wasn't, and I was, and I wasn't. I don't know. Folks, I could pretty much do what I want. I'm not afraid. But the thing that kind of gets to me sometimes is I go out into the world here. Maybe I should put on my hotspot and bring you on with me. Maybe that'll be some new things that we do in the neighborhood. But anyway, at any rate, folks, I just want to state that my dream coming up was being a journalist, interviewing people, going and chasing different stories, and just being that person, going to different concerts. It's like other people wanted to be the guy, wanted to be the person performing. I want to be the person that can go and be in that middle. I've always been that person that has that imagination, that sci-fi half nerd imagination of bouncing between two worlds. I didn't just want to be the fan that just comes and sees. I wanted to be able, and I didn't want to just be the performer that comes out and just performs. I want to be the person who comes as a fan to see someone that I greatly respect as a musician or performer of any type, but also be able to bring that to other people who would be interested in seeing that same person or someone like that person. That's my dream. And for my dream, I put money. I pay $150. I pay about $150 a year at least on, maintaining my Mainframe magazine website right now. I basically put a lot of man hours in on the social media over the years to work the brand. I've also, have been willing on numerous occasions to take out a small business loan, or whatever to, bolster more money into making things happen. There have been conversations, there have been considerations that have been slated off to the side for various reasons, not mine, but for various reasons. So again, I was willing to do what it took for my dream. Am I willing to do what it takes for a passion or a new undertaking that was not quite my dream? I mean, not sure. I'm liking it more and more. I have done some things to, bolster that situation. The podcast equipment, I think, is definitely, one. A major one. So, I definitely am. Confirmed on that. So, it just, so I guess the reason why I did this is because, I don't know, I was about to, but maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Because let's just let it go. I'm not gonna, but see, people just go mention to people's families and, some mention what people do on their, what they do on their personal time. Like, what my bills are, like, what It's stuff like that just kind of makes me say, you know what, fuck those guys, but I've been doing well. Things are starting to grow, things are consistent, and I don't need to do this. Maybe I can give you guys another small treat, from just recently. Let's see. I could do a little something different here. I was going to do that, but it's not worth it. It's really not even worth it. But let's see. Maybe start some interest here. Makes sense to me, and I'll just speak to people in a way that makes sense to them. And he's going to bring it in a way that he's not trying to talk over your head. He wants you to understand the way he understood it. And I think it's great. I think it's great for this reversal show. It kind of keeps right in line with what we were doing. But it gets Patrice O'Neal involved in another aspect that I really wanted you to see anyway. So it just kind of works out perfectly. So, but I didn't realize though, when I checked it on YouTube, I had no idea that there would be so many choices to make as far as different conspiracy theory video clips that there are, and they're not short. I mean, we're talking about 48, 50 minutes, almost an hour, some goes over an hour. I think the fair way to go is that maybe pick the one that has the most view thus far. I think that might be the best way to go. And I also think that the sooner we get started, the more we'll be able to hear. So, without further ado, let's start getting the Titantron. Can I say that? Oops. Can I say that? Am I going to get in trouble saying the Titantron? But, whatever. So let's see what we have. Oh, no. Oh, crap, the batteries. Isn't this just peachy? Kill that kid of mine. Excuse me a moment. Well, don't want to leave you like that. That is just unprofessional. So let's see what we can do here. We'll get you rolling with the tomatoes then. Just real quick. Apologies, folks, for interrupting there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see what's the most popular here. Okay, it does seem that the most popular one, that's okay, that's that. The Obama deception. Interesting. Now this one might be unexpected. Let's try this here. Good morning, welcome to the Oregon. By the way, I want to be clear again because as a YouTube creator, now, I think I can officially just kind of say that with a little bit more pride. That this video was published on November 29, 2011 by Big Truck Series Review Motorsports. So if you want to check them out, subscribe possibly. They did provide this. Patrice O'Neal talks about the Obama deception. Again, I do this because I don't want to take credit for anybody else's videos. I actually want to highlight them, and as a person who was part of the community, give them their respect. And I think it's helped me a great deal. I think also not, just having it broadcasting, blaring on my actual Chromebook, helps a great deal also. But I think this helps a great deal because I think people see I'm giving them their respect. I'm giving them their credit. I'm not trying to act like it's my video, it's my content. It's their content. They're essentially helping me. So if I can help them get more subscriptions, more people interested in their channel, hey, good on that. So this is the video from Big Truck Series Review Motorsports. Again, this is the Obama deception. Patrice explains Alex Jones's Obama deception.
Greetings. Patrice O'Neal in the studio. We want to get right into this because I'm enjoying my Sunday, just kind of mellowing out. Sure. Watch a little LeBron. But anyway, I'm watching all this stuff, just mellowing, having a nice Sunday. The tree calls up. Sounded like he was on drugs or something. I don't know. It's like, okay, call me back. So I call him back. He's like, you gotta watch the Obama deception. Oh my God, it'll open your eyes. And I'm thinking to myself, she's a black guy. Obama deception. What the hell is that? That sounds like some kind of Rush Limbaugh thing. Some kind of propaganda. Sure. I watch it all. Yeah. So, you got it. So before Patrice goes off, I watched most of it because I didn't have time to watch the whole thing by the time he called me because I watched the crash. I got to, I did 9 out of the 12 parts that you can find on YouTube. Not bad. And then Patrice calls in the middle of that again. We start discussing it for an hour. Then I go to bed. And this is where I say F you today. My dream was I was rocking. I was one of those Illuminati guys. I was being swept away to secret meeting. And I had like people. I don't even know who they were, but they needed to get to me because I was up to no good. I was like running the world. But I wasn't the main guy. I was like just one of these guys. Oh yeah. It was like an action movie. Yeah, that's right. Woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. My girl's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nightmares. Then I went back and got the part 2 of this action movie that you put in my head. I tried to call you, motherfucker. I don't know what you were doing. I called you a few times. I haven't called you enough to know to leave messages. Like, I don't know. So I just called trying to maybe see this call. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you to watch it. Yeah. But the Obama deception is basically, it's not what you think it is. It's not saying that Obama is magically awful, right? It's just, and it goes back to Bush and all that. It's not that it's just the system. It's more like the presidential deception. It's just what it is. Yeah, to think that it's horrible. The system's going to change because Obama's in there. But basically, this movie saying, yeah, right. So the whole Obama president now, it don't mean nothing to anybody. Yeah. It don't even mean nothing to people like, well, he's going to do something or not. But it's so big that I don't know even if the president knows what it is. I don't know, because he's looking like he wants to quit. Like, everyone's looking at him now. It's like, can I get out of this? I just wanted to campaign and get the job. I don't want to do the job. Right. I don't want because it will destroy the planet Earth. Right? And because he was taught what it's all about. Like, we notice he looks tired finally. He looks grayer all of a sudden. He looks like that guy next time you don't want to get it. That's sparkle in his eyes is kind of leaving. And his job in the movie, what his job is for them, for the people, the Illuminati, no, not the Illuminati. They never said the Bilderberg Group. The Bilderberg Group. The Bilderberg Group is running the world. They're running the world, and they are comfortable saying the Bilderberg Group. Yeah. But they're not comfortable saying the Illuminati. But
people keep loving him. He apparently is the guy that needs to be in there right now. Yes. According to this movie. And now he's a Freeze fan who is thinking this. According to this movie, I watch this movie. Yeah, you gotta keep propaganda close. You gotta keep that word close at hand when you start discussing. Yeah, Alan Green's fan, according to this movie, is one of the biggies at the Federal Reserve Bank, who, by the way, has nothing to do with the Feds. I thought the Federal Reserve had something.
Hope you were enjoying that a little bit, folks, as we were moving along. I probably could have kept it going, but I wanted to put that along in case anybody hadn't, realized that a couple of days ago I did the Night Owl Lounge Cooper Matrix edition. I have had 16 views on that, which has well exceeded my 9 subscribers on my channel. Like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you real quick. I just saw this Verizon commercial that really bothers me, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this or has seen this commercial or is bothered by me. It's nothing that goes on in the commercial so much. It's just simply the name. They chose somehow. Some way, that I guess when they felt like they stumbled upon the Yusufzai sisters, Yusufzai, really. But see, they also, I think they also try to do that in their own little way to sort of, try to somewhat low key differentiate, in my opinion. So I say this because my opinion, my conspiracy theorist mind tells me that they're using these two teenage girls, probably around the same age as Malala Yousafzai, that a very courageous young woman, by the way, who I mean, see, the thing about it is, see, you can't. Let me just start real quick. For those who don't know, Malala Yousafzai is a very, very powerful young woman who, in Arab country, I should pull that back up. But basically, in an area where where ISIS and Al Qaeda don't want women to get an education, she dared to get an education. She was shot in the head. She was in the hospital, shot in the head. I mean, for at least a week or so. Got out and got right back to education, got right back to reading. And just kept moving forward, kept being a powerful force in this world for young women treated as second-class citizens, over in that part of the world. She opened up at 18 years old. She opened up a school for young girls. This is what this young girl was doing with her teenage years in her life. She was fighting. She was becoming a hero, a shero, if some people want to say that. Doesn't matter. I'm all good with either one. And for Verizon to put out the Yusufzai sisters, and just to have them be their biggest moment that they'll never forget in their lives is meeting Shawn Mendes. It's all this, just let them bounce around like like they were just, oh my God, such caricatures. And I say, what's the point? How's that? It's just coincidence. No, it's not. You can't degrade. You can't, as a corporation, as part of this whole system. You can't degrade Malala. You can't degrade Malala for what she's doing. You can't trivialize Malala for what she's doing. But you can try to trivialize her in another way by her name. By like, oh, look, we're gonna put into your memory that when you think about Yusufzai, you're gonna think about these two bobblehead girls on the Verizon commercial that's sitting here acting like, going to a concert and meeting Shawn Mendes, which is like the biggest thing when that Malala Yousafzai was out there being, being just, being a legend, creating her own historic story. I believe you go on Netflix or even Netflix or Hulu. I believe there's a story on, my father called me Malala. I believe, I believe it is, and I just find that just leave the situations alone. You wouldn't go the Ali sisters. You wouldn't go say the Ali sister, the Ali brothers. You know what I'm saying? And they have two talking, and they have two. You know what I'm saying? And then they have two. Just ridiculous stereotypical black dudes. You know what I'm saying? Trying to denigrate. You know what I'm saying? It's just certain things that you're not going to do, but you're doing it here. It's just Yusuf Zai is a very very distinctive name, and there's no way you're gonna it's gonna come along and you're gonna it's not going to register. I just think it's a little. I think anybody who tries to argue that a corporation like Verizon, that there wouldn't be somebody in their organization that would have no idea about Malala Yousafzai, I think you're just kidding yourselves. But I think I got to admit, folks, I was going to do some things, and I still could. I mean, there's still certain things that people may not have even seen on my personal channel that I put out that would really say some things. I recorded some stuff that really make people look like idiots. But I'm not. I decided not to do that. I decided to leave it alone because I've done so well now without having to engage in that type of behavior and that type of warring. I'm fighting a different war now, and to go back and do that would just take. I think it would just take the momentum out of what was accomplished. So I just don't want to do that. But I just I wanted to make. I'm not afraid to make it clear that yes, folks, I smoke marijuana. I smoke weed. Okay. Do I smoke every day? Almost. I don't know. It's not a thing that I keep tabs on. But one thing I can tell you more than anything, that before even my goals and aspirations, my personal goals and aspirations, you know, ew, God, Aubrey, they used to be somebody that you could fucking, ugh. She used to be somebody that I might have felt like, you could have did something with, but now she's just really made herself. She looks like white Lil Kim, I think, but that's just me. But at any rate, but one thing I can definitely tell you about me, folks, is that the priority, even beyond my own goals and aspirations, are my family. Nothing comes before, making sure that they're good, making sure that the bills are paid, that things are taken care of, that the kids have what they need. But see, when you don't have teenagers that want a lot, that depend on you a lot, you don't understand what that's like. When you don't have people, when you don't have relatives that live, so you don't have relatives that you can work with. When you don't have relatives that you can just get jobs from, and things like that. When you don't have that sort of privilege in your life, you have to do what you have to do. But no. Yeah, you damn right. Have I sacrificed, getting a bunch of equipment and things like that from time to time in a more quicker fashion? But you know what? I got it. Chromebook. Chromebook handles my live streams, my live YouTube videos perfectly. People like it. It's cool. I get my lighting the way I want to. I'm good with this lighting. Hey, I look a little darker here, but hey, I'm good with this lighting right now. I could turn it on if I wanted to. Doesn't matter, but I'm good with this right now. This is part of the podcast. It's part of being able to kind of just chill out, mellow vibes, and this is part of the upside down. Normally I would have the lighting on, but I'm not this time. So I do what I do, but my family comes first, even beyond my own personal goals, even beyond getting the podcast equipment, even beyond getting the laptop and things like that. But I have it. Got the Chromebook, got my laptop that has Windows 10 that can handle that has OBS on the open broadcast software that I can easily do recorded shows, what I'm saying, official podcasts with my podcast equipment. Have done it. You've seen the show, over 90 views on, on the one episode of the show that's done. But not to worry, folks. This is part of the whole media thing that I do here. Not to worry. I am working on doing some bigger things with the show because I'm probably gonna have to do it on my own. So with that, with doing the show on my own, yeah, you got to do some things. You got to pop some pictures and some things and some content into it. You don't want to just be there just talking. But when you have somebody else, a partner, it was, I could do that and we can make it entertaining because we could bounce off each other. It was cool. Things change. You got to adjust. You got to move forward. That's what a hustler does. You don't worry about that stuff. You just adjust and you move forward. That's what you got to do. So we move forward. And yes, I will use my OBS system to basically work out a more set up, a more elaborate, pre-recorded show for pre-recorded episodes for the show. I will do that. I'm also going to be moving Dark Deals over to Mainframe Media. I'm going to be moving that over there, and I'm going to be doing that more as a pre-recorded show also. Maybe not, but I would definitely work the OBS system into that show to sort of put up footage and information and things like that as I go along and talk about certain things. That much. But when it comes to doing Mr. Williams' Neighborhood, there's going to be more things with that. You're going to see me going out more. We're going to go out into the outer neighborhood. You're going to see the outside. I'm going to go places. I'm going to do things. With Mainframe Media, you're going to see me go places and do things. And I'll have my Chromebook with me and we'll record and we'll talk to people. We'll interview people. We'll do all sorts of things. And then we'll edit this stuff out so you can see the compilations. We're going to have fun, all sorts of kind of fun with this stuff. It's no holds barred either way. But the creative space here is just sparking so much inspiration right now, in different ways. So I just love talking about it because, as you can see, I don't play around. I can talk about it because I back it up. I'm going to do it. I'm not saying I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it. That's bottom line. So with that being said, the frequency at which I smoke has nothing to do with the money that is spent on smoking. And that much I can tell you is that there's not a whole lot of money more than when it comes to, because I'm sorry, but you have to understand the economics of things. But let me do this real quick because I'm in my vibe right now, but let me just do this real quick because I really want to take a moment because let's be for real here. There's just certain economics of things that certain people just don't get. That when you have rent, utilities, phone bills, you got teenagers, you're paying for their cell phone bills. There's different things like, you have internet, Wi-Fi, all this stuff costs money, folks. It costs money. Okay. And there's no way that I could spend as much money or more money than what I spend on all of those things and the kids' needs and after school programs. And my daughter is now in cosmetology as far as her vocation. We're paying for that. We're going to have to pay for that again when she goes back, so for her senior year. This is what life is about, folks. So, as much as I would love to sit around here and try to act like I have all the money in the world to be able to go out here, reality isn't like that. This is what being a modern day anarchist is about. Reality isn't like that for me. And I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. Reality, life threw me a curveball. Like it threw a lot of people in the 90s going into the new millennium, a fucking curveball. We had to adjust. I had to adjust. I'm adjusting because I'm a hustler. I'm always going to adjust. I'm always going to do the thing that I need to do to make things happen for myself. That's my determination. That's my persistence. That's just my mentality. I got a tough mind. I don't let no one can fucking break me. It's just the way that fucking goes, man. It's just the way that fucking goes for me. So, dreams, Dreams are great. And I did have a dream and I worked toward that dream. And I put money into that dream. And I was willing to put money into that dream. But, we got into certain things. Yikes. But we got into certain things. And I'm not going to keep getting into that stuff. I could go back into it. But the bottom line, folks, the truth, bottom line is this. And people can say whatever they want to say and things of that nature. But the truth of the matter is this. I grew up dreaming of being a journalist, growing up being a writer and things of that nature. You know, the world of live streams and podcasting and YouTube and things like that, that wasn't a thing that was always on my mind. I had other aspirations that were sort of in the connection of that, but just not in the way and the normal facets. I was trying to be more of a real journalist and do what I could do to make things, to make things happen in that arena. In 2000, I believe in between 2012, 2013, I started to craft my own situation after another smaller magazine, which I've chronicled exclusive back in the day, didn't work out for me. I started to try to recover from that situation and move forward. We get to Mainframe Magazine and starting to work that out. You get the LLC done, LLC through LegalZoom. Through LegalZoom, you were given a lot of different ways to automatically start getting your best foot forward as far as business went. So that's where I started to get information about setting up your own website, and here's Wix.com, and you'll get advertising vouchers and things like that for Google Plus and also the Facebook. These were things that I had no real knowledge of Google Plus before that time. So it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing for me. I wasn't on Google Plus and then all of a sudden everything else happened. It just didn't work that way. In the midst of trying to, once I realized what I was going to do and trying to work things in that way, because let's just look at what it is. Okay. Let's just go back a little bit. Let's go back to even Mainframe Magazine real quick on the YouTube channel. Let's work it back up and see what we have. Go to the videos. When we go to the videos, once again, we only go back as far as, 7 years ago. 7 years ago is 2012. Okay, folks, it's 2019. 7 years ago is 2012. That's where I was putting out footage, really trying to go on my own with Mainframe Magazine. So there's a chronicle. 7 years, was where I would put the first initial videos in here as Mainframe Magazine, 2012. So in the midst of 2012 and 2013, I would be in connection with, the person, I have history with. Some of you may know, some of you may not. But through that time, he added me into his circles. I added him back because I felt like he had an interesting, unique profile and content that was going on. So I added him back into my circles. Our only correspondence, our only communication was through our posts. When we would post something on Google Plus, I would show support. I would like, or I would share if it was something that I felt like other people should see. I would share it, or I would comment on something that he had to say. One poignant thing that I can remember him saying throughout that time, at one point, was like, the balance between being a family man, and being that young person that you once were, or that you still are, sort of balancing the two, because some friends were coming into town, and he was talking about going out and drinking with them and hanging out, but also trying to balance being a family man now. And I could relate. And it was one of the many things that we related on. And then it was brought up, not by me, that, oh, you're doing a magazine. It was brought up because again, I'm on Google Plus, and it's a shame that we can't go to Google Plus and I can show you screenshots and things and show you what it was about, because I was up there mainly for Mainframe Magazine. There was no other reason why I was up there. There was hardly any other reason why I was up there but to broadcast, information and content that I thought was very interesting, but also to push my brand in Mainframe Magazine. So it wasn't a secret, you know. And so then the communication, so it wasn't just boom, we're communicating, we're jumping in, and blah 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 blah. No, it wasn't that. And then once we started communicating on that level, it was more of a finally, because it was like weeks into maybe a couple of months or so before we actually started talking on a level of let's work together. And at that point, I was trying to I was looking at it as a business deal. So I'm talking about, hey, what are you charging? What are you charging to get these magazines printed? And that's when I was told that, hey, I'm willing to do this now. And then once we start selling copies, I'll get paid on the back end. I was like, that's cool. And I'm like, that's great. And I think that's so great that I at least want to be able to extend another gesture to you, not becoming a partner, but becoming a sort of like staff. I can make sure to legally put you on as staff so that when you're getting paid, there's no issues, there's no ruffling the feathers, there's no trouble. You get your money, everything is fine, everything works out. That was always the situation, that was always the deal. But because he wanted to sort of maintain this quote unquote anonymity, fine. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just letting you know what it is and what they require. Bottom line, case closed. That's the truth. That's what it was. That's this whole situation. No one was ever white knighted. No one was ever, things like that. I was never immediately, oh, we're partners, we're brothers, and all this bullshit. It wasn't blood brothers and all that bullshit. And to be blood brothers, what I'm saying, for the people who don't understand, to be blood brothers, you have to, cut yourself, intermingle the wounds, and then your blood brother, because now the blood that you have is going in him, and the blood that he has is going in you. So now you're intermingling your blood brothers now. So no, I never said that dumb shit. No. And I did this as a reversal. I did this as a reversal because instead of going that way of sort of insulting and getting personal and digging into somebody else's life, I decided to dig into my own and be truthful about what was going on in my own situation and being real about mine. Folks, I'm intelligent. I feel like I'm a very intelligent, very, very versatile person. I can mix in a lot of different circles, and it's genuine because it's not me trying to be a certain thing, but it's just me being able to speak to a certain thing because I have genuine interest. So I'm not trying to act like this person when I'm talking about rock or talking about this, and I'm going to be speaking like this dude when I'm talking about this, or when I'm talking about hip hop, I got to be talking more like this. No, it's all the same. It's all the same. Excuse me, folks, but that's the truth. You know, doing the podcast, writing books and novels and things like that, those were never things that I said I wanted to do, at least in this situation. Of course, there are things that you could do, there are things you would like to do, eventually, but that was not our coming together. Our coming together was mainly about his publishing, company and my magazine and working together to make that happen. And then other things were wanted, other things were help was needed and help was given. And that's part of the listing of what I felt like I had done. That these are things that I was doing to help out the overall situation and endeavors that we were trying to bolster up in the branding we were trying to put out there. That's, otherwise I'd have been happy just doing my magazine and getting that done and getting that branding out and getting that and getting a spark on that. and then being happy with that. And then moving on, maybe moving on as things are suggested. But it wasn't like, because I had done hangouts on air and had done shows and invited to do different shows and having different, very elaborate conversations with lots of people. And it was fun, but it was never something like, man, I really want to do this now. But it came up again, and it was just something that, like, wow, maybe I should do this. And I realized that it kind of took me back to what I love, that you can't do that on television, and not necessarily the news type of situation, the politically incorrect type of shit that I was coming up on when I was really young. That was the shit that I loved, so, but just kind of revealing it out there, folks. That's what it is. You know, 2012, 2013 was when it happened. And, by the time I was trying to gain information, this is more for the business license that I thought that I needed, because I thought the other situation wouldn't be enough. I'd already gotten an LLC, which made my business officially a business, which meant I had the right to actually do business. But I just thought that if I was going to be doing business inside of Virginia, that I would need a business license in order to make sure that everything was on the up and up. And in order to get one of those, you have to enter in all the people who are going to be on your staff or be getting paid under this situation. I was trying to make sure that everybody got their just due. You tell me you'd rather not do it, and I understand. But please understand where I stand when it comes to the payment of the situation. So, all right. So let me see. There's anything else that I can put out with to kind of just be done with this and just kind of move on, folks? Like I said again. Oh, hey. All right. What's happening? Well, folks, looks like we've been having a lot of fun, a lot longer than we normally would have doing this, but we're doing the upside down, two shows in one. So let's move a little forward and maybe move the neighborhood to another part of the house and maybe work out and maybe get into a little bit of what was promised. This, speaking on Stranger Things very quickly. Where you come? Okay, well, let's do that very quickly. Let's get into that because, folks, we've done this. We've done this a bunch of times before, and it just is what it is. And I would never, nothing that takes priority over family and everything like that. Nothing ever would. And that's why everything else pales in comparison to what the responsibility to my kids are, to my wife, to what we're trying to build here together. So if it means that I delay getting that next equipment that could really put me over the top until until another more opportune time, that is what it is. And I don't feel bad about it. I enjoy what I'm doing. This is not a product. This, again, what I do here with the Night Owl Lounge, with the Cooper Matrix, none of it is about not having the equipment to do this. I'd rather be in front of you having fun, taking you into this world and being here like you get to see what I get to see, not me just saying, and you're not seeing me watch it. You're not seeing the viewpoint from where I'm seeing it from. But also, it also helps be able to do it because you can't quite do it in that way. So in order for us to be able to really view, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm giving the proper credit for the actual publisher. I'm putting it in a small screen, in a small space on the actual screen so that you can see it, but it's not the main thing that you're seeing, like it's my content. I'm doing all the right things because I want to have entertaining content, but I want to also show a spotlight that other people are also showing. To show that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that knows about Patrice O'Neal. I'm not the only one that's shining the spotlight on Patrice O'Neal classic footage. Other people are, as well as I am. And I want to give them their due respect and say, look, this is what this guy's doing, and it's very good. So if you want to subscribe to this guy, absolutely do so. I'm just moving on, and my priorities are clear and they're straight. I know what I'm doing, and I know how to maneuver in what I'm doing. I'm getting all the things that I need in the due time, and it's all coming together just the way I need it to. It's great. I know that my podcast equipment works and it works well. It was a good show. And I know now that I can make the OBS system work for me, and I'm going to make it work the right way. And I'm going to learn all the ins and outs, even all the little tricks that I don't know. I'm going to make sure that it works out. But let's get to what we need to get to. Folks, that is Stranger Things. Stranger Things that luckily, and I think it was sort of beautiful, was like it made you want to binge because it kind of connects right into 4th of July. It connects right into 4th of July toward the end. So but anyway, let's go here. So we're back with Stranger Things. We're back now. We leave off a couple of things you know, where Dustin goes to camp. Um, Will tries to move beyond this time, tries to move beyond this time being, being in the clutches of the mind flayer. Mike, Lucas has now found a love interest and it's weird. It's kind of ironic. And he's now found a love interest in Maxine, the new girl from California that has come to Indiana. And we're going to shift gears right here. And we're going to not do much longer in the review and get wait. Hey. I know what I'm doing. Come here. I know what I'm doing. Hmm? Hmm? Okay. So now we have that going on. And it's kind of ironic because I must say that I myself, have a little thing for redheads. And while she may be strawberry blonde or something, it seems like she's more like a redhead to me. At least more leaning towards that end. So it's kind of ironic. I don't know if that's a common thing with, with some African American dudes or whatever, or just kind of coincidentally, that's something that I identify with. But nevertheless, we have that. We have Mike, of course, ended off with Mike and L, short for 11. Connecting together at the dance and everything like that. So now we come into where they're like teenagers, hot, for each other and things like that. Hot for each other and so on. And, and so they're spending a lot of time together. Dustin comes back from camp. They're trying to reconnect as friends and as the crew again. But of course, there's, as always, and this always is like the Big Bang Theory, just like, in a way, Stranger Things is like, it's like the action adventure Big Bang Theory, in a way. Because, the 4 guys in the crew were together at first, and then you get the couple of girls that get thrown into the mix, and it's sort of supposed to complicate the situation and things like that. So, in its own way, sometimes fun, sometimes, not so fun, as you'll find out if you haven't already found out. Then, of course, we find out that Russians behind, truly are behind, trying to reopen the gate that 11 had courageously closed. And so we're dealing with, Dustin coming back from camp and trying to reconnect. And also we're dealing back with Steve, who's now trying to figure out life as a formerly douchey guy who has now become the good guy, sort of. No, definitely. Steve is the good guy. He took an ass whooping in order to help them out. He definitely is a good guy. And there's some emergences of Lucas's sister, who emerges a little bit more as a character in this particular season. There's also Robin, who works with Steve at Scoops Ahoy, who emerges as well, as someone. Let's see here. But of course we have the regulars, and as usual, as a writer, I know when it comes to stuff like this, especially when you have a core group of people for so long, you know, someone has to go. Someone has to make the big sacrifice, because as things get more serious, there are going to be bigger consequences. And I do want to take a moment to, again, folks, if you haven't seen Stranger Things and you're pacing yourself, you might want to stop here, because I've binged on it. I know some other people have binged on it, so I know I'm talking to some people who have already know what I know. But David Harbour, definitely want to give a special respect to, because very few people do this when it comes to long running shows like this. No one wants to give the respect, but I think The Walking Dead, people who talk about The Walking Dead, they give great respect to those essential characters, who have been sacrificed, as the storyline goes. And I knew it. I told my wife when I was watching it, that I just knew somebody is going to happen, because it hasn't quite happened. Sean Astin was in there a little bit, and then they sacrificed him, but he's always been like the sacrifice guy in a couple of things, in The Strain, and now on this one. I don't know why he's becoming the sacrifice guy now, but I guess he's the guy. Look, I know he's the guy that you've seen in the Goonies. He's the guy you've seen in Lord of the Rings. So he's the adventure guy that seems to always make it to the end. And it's like he's just having bad luck now. He just cannot make it to the end of these damn shows now. These adventures, he can't make it to the end. I don't know. Maybe it's humor. I mean, we deal with it because it's not really real. So, kudos to Sean Astin. He was a part of my youth. He was in the Goonies. That's something that I've often spoke about, and my wife knows about it, and this is what she got me for Father's Day. Goonies Never Say Die. Goonies Never Say Die. Is it on both of those? Then you got the pirate. You got the pirate stuff. You got the Goonies. Yeah, these are my socks. Things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely into it. Definitely part of my youth. So. But at any rate, David Harbour, definitely Jim. I believe I'm correct here, but David Harbour, it plays Jim Hopper, chief of police, of Hawkins, Hop, as many people affectionately call him. He was the father figure. I think it was a great role that he took on. For you think he's this lumbering big guy. But it's like at the moment where you think a woman might take on the role of Elle's guardian and taking care of her, in the situation that people are still trying to wrap their heads around, he stepped up. He tried his best to be there for and establish a connection, and got to a point of feeling like, that's his daughter. And so, it was definitely a bittersweet moment, we could say. you know, a lot went on. Billy, of course, who, was the bad guy, the wild guy, the wild side guy, if Motley Crue were an 18-year-old kid, he'd probably be Billy Hargrove, you know, but, so, but, it was more of getting to the source of what his anger was about, what made him the way he was, and what made him so susceptible to being taken by the mind flayer, and things like that. So just bringing it was great. It was just really great. It was what you always expect, but not the same. Things are definitely different. I will say though, I have to say, now I understand that we as guys that we're self-deprecating, we have a good sense of humor. We don't take ourselves too seriously. I get that. I totally do. But I still feel like a lot of the narrative was still a bit, it was still a bit insulting towards boys and a little bit more like, you know, I don't like the whole we're kids. You haven't gone through anything. I haven't gone through anything. If we like each other and we want to have a certain type of friendship or relationship, let's have that. But to sort of act like I am woman, hear me roar, and simply because blew me off, that's treating me like garbage. So we're gonna treat him like garbage, and it's like, all that type of stuff. And oh, I know he's sitting around crying and whining and what I'm saying? It's just like it's almost this whole sort of, just super arrogance. And it's like, oh, because boys are super arrogant. No. See, that's the thing. That's the thing that I think that in a way they missed the mark on. You know, Lucas, Mike, Dustin, and Will were the outcast guys. They were the nerd guys. They got picked on. They got bothered. What I'm saying? They grouped together because they had the same interests, Dungeons and Dragons and sci-fi and technology and things like that. And you know, for those guys to get a lucky break and for Mike to never think that he would really connect with anyone or have these kind of feelings for anyone and to find L. For Lucas to live in Hawkins, Indiana and being one of the few, black people that, that they're really featuring like that. You rarely have interaction from like, okay, Will's parents. Oh, and by the way, I do apologize. By the way, we also have Jonathan Byers, Will's older brother, and we have Nancy, forget her last name, but who came together after, of course, came together after Steve and everything else like that. But they came together under this whole weird stranger tragedy and things that happened in Hawkins initially. And it seemed to be that those things that brought them together might have been threatening to tear them apart in this season. So it's just trying to figure those things out, but also be getting back to the situation. I just feel like that, it's sort of like a way, like now all of a sudden being bullied. Now all of a sudden, making it seem like it's making it less of a sci-fi thing and more of so maybe even more of a self-serving female thing of, oh, she has superpowers. Now we can go and sneak in and know what they think. You know what they think. You sit there. I mean, like I said, how are you? They're probably, oh, now we can go and see. But that's what they are. Why not leave it there? But no, it's spying more. It's sort of like this thing of it's commonplace. I just don't want it to become more of a gender thing than what it has to be, because we are under the whole situation now of females being, and especially in shows like this and sci-fi shows and power shows, of being more of the essential thing, the most powerful thing in whatever situation that we have going on. So I just hope it's more of just, stepping up, doing what you got to do, and less about a gender war situation. I just, I didn't dig that totally, but overall, it was fun. They tried to make it fun. It wasn't so over the top, but I do kind of feel like just this whole feeling of, oh, you know, it's just overall the whole way things were reversed. It's just like, I don't know. But I just say it because I think about the guys, and they're not like, great, some the super lover men of the world, great players that they got girls all over them like Steve did. So they caught a little bit of a break, and it's like, all of a sudden now they're sort of being bullied by their girlfriends in a way. And it's like, is that okay? I don't think that's okay. I guess, folks, to let you know, being that we're in the media buffet a little bit here and we're doing all this, I guess for me, I also want to start doing movies like what would happen? I often wonder what would happen if you take a sort of romantic comedy and aspects of romantic comedy, aspects of a buddy movie, and aspects of an action adventure and put that all together. I think you can make for great movies, for great innovative movies that people have rarely seen or hardly, what I'm saying, people have seen or maybe not seen. What I mean by that is, like, what if you had situations where relationships develop between men and women, where you might have a story where a guy helps a woman gain her revenge. I often think about telling the story, doing the professional in a more grown up way, to where the girl is old enough, to where the revenge she's seeking, she's actually able to get herself. And he's willing to help and train and help her do that. And things burgeon from there. See, this is what the delinquent studios are going to be about. Ideas can be sparked here. And, buddy comedies where, a couple are together, badasses together, and things like that. You just never know. I think that can work. A little bit of humor, a little bit of romance, a little bit of, love for the females that they can get into, but also the buddy comedy, to see that women are being respected and seen at the same level as their boyfriends, as their husband, as the person that they grew up with. That's my male friend. We're badasses together. I need you to have my back, or hey, I need you to have my back. When I think about somebody that I want to have my back, even the guy saying that, hey, when I want somebody to have my back, when I need to go in and handle something, I'll call her. You know, Sort of like the way it started to happen in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, the way Salma Hayek's character evolved, and where she was supposedly in the stories. At least they showed it, but they showed it though. You can try to act like it was a well-traveled story, and it may not have been real, but you were able to show and see that she had this part where she could throw these knives, and you know what I'm saying, and she was able to fight. So she showed that them together, that they were both together badasses, and they had their own little skills and things like that. I like that, and I think that those kind of movies are what's missing. And I think that if we could start pushing those movies and getting those movies out there, I think that so much money could be made, and so many people could be brought together, and they could come together and enjoy this movie, this hybrid type of movie. It's happening more and more now, and I think that is the market that may not have been tapped into. That I think I just may start, seeing what I could do to push my ideas. But anyway, but that's what I look for. You know, those guys that have a break, outcast people. She's unconventional, they're unconventional. I think that they should come together and support each other. In some ways she does, but it's almost like I still feel like with some girls, it's like you see it. Oh, you really? Well, I'm not perfect, so I don't think anybody else is perfect. Of course I ain't perfect. You know what I mean? But you keep seeing this thing of, oh, it's women affirmation. But it's like, here you have these guys These guys are secure in who they are. They don't have to have anybody stroke their ego. They haven't. They were being proud of who they are and doing Dungeons and Dragons and everything they do. They didn't care. And it was that way that helped them save their town. And so I think it shouldn't be, and still in a way picked on or bullied because it's their girlfriends, and that's funny. And that's, that's what happens when you have a girlfriend. Oop, that's kind of what you have. No, not really. Not if you're a true feminist and it's about equal standing between the sexes. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't stand for that. Not a male or female would stand for that. But, outside of that, it was great. It still was funny. It still was done humorous, and it wasn't be made a big deal of, but it's just good to note. And, just overall, the fireworks, literally and figuratively, they were there. It was great television. It was a bittersweet goodbye to Hop. It was a change in the dynamic a bit. Will and Elle moving away. But also we get to find out what's what, because there definitely was an alluding to a season 4. Something happened in actual Russia. Where they were seen to be harboring the Demogorgon. And so that's just alluding to another season. So we at least got one more season, folks. We at least got one more. How much more can we do? I don't know, but I'm just glad that we have TV like this, that we're able to experience stuff like this, to where there's more freedom. It's not controlled by these corporations that want, that they want to make certain things the way they want it done, instead of having the freedom to do it the way it should be done. I just think that I just enjoy this type of stuff. And, you got to be able to take your mind, but also stuff that can challenge you and challenges things and maybe, taps into certain conversations that we're having, but in a different way, in a more sci-fi fantasy type of way, but in a way that says there is some science there, so. But folks, we're reaching almost 2 hours. I don't know if I want to keep running into more of that time. I would love to get to 2 hours, but I think we've done a good job here. I think you'll enjoy everything that I brought to you in the special, the special Delinquent POTcast episode of Mr. Williams' Neighborhood, to celebrate the anti-4th of July and the Stranger Things season 3. And the celebration of a possible Stranger Things season 4. We get to find out how this dynamic plays its part in, the crew, the collective here. Just can't wait. How long do we wait? Who knows? But it seems like they already giving you footage like this, so they're already gearing up. So who knows how long we might have to wait? Maybe not long at all. But all right. I want to get to that 2 hour mark, but folks, I'm sorry. We got to get out into the world, and we got things to do. So we got to start closing out, and I got to get the closing theme together. So with that being said, we got to start getting toward. It's a great feeling to know you're alive. It's a great feeling. A fire grows inside. When the truth wakes you up, you will say, I will fight against the tyranny today. It's a great feeling. A great, great feeling that I'll be back when the day is new. I'll have more info to share with you. You'll have conspiracies you'll want to figure out, and I will too. So, folks, hopefully, as you enjoy the rest of your evening, I hope to be back pretty soon, maybe in the next couple of hours, to do the next Cooper Matrix and things like that to keep things going. I haven't forgot about, for those of you who are still wondering about the show, haven't forgot about that. Like I said, I'm going to be working on some new adjustments and trying to get those things set up. So, I enjoyed what I did, but I think there's some things that need to be done to adjust to the new curveballs that have been thrown. I have no problem with that, and that will be done. I just ask for patience. It is coming along. I'm coming along. No problem. So again, thank you for those who will watch this. Thanks to those who will hopefully support, share, maybe subscribe. You know, um, but just thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of this day. It's 8 o'clock here, folks, and we're still dealing with, daytime. Just great. So again, folks, stay woke and stay wary, and have a great one. Until next time, possibly very, very soon.